Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 video for you, and today we are going to be talking about the Ranger. We're going to be taking a little bit closer look than we have in the past, and we are going to be, I'm going to be giving you some spell advice for the Ranger. So yeah, now first off, the Ranger is not primarily a spellcaster, so do not expect to be primarily a spellcaster. Don't expect to be up on, doing the same things that the druid or the wizard or the sorcerer do. No, your role is very different. Your spellcasting is nowhere near as potent as theirs for the most part, although you do get some pretty good stuff. But primarily you are going to be a martial character, either most likely either wielding two weapons or wielding a bow and arrow. Honestly, I think the bow and arrow is the better option, but that's beside the point. But especially with spells, the spells that you get for a bow and arrow, from what I can tell, seem to be better. Anyways, yeah. So first off, you're not going to want to be using. You're not going to want to be relying on spells for their own sake. For the most part, you'll want to use them to bolster the martial prowess that you have, and you get a decent number of those. Those should be the ones that you're going to be looking at. It doesn't hurt to grab a couple of cure spells, just in case your main healer can't get to you. But I wouldn't prepare more than a couple of those, because you do have to prepare all your spells ahead of time during the day. You are not a spontaneous caster, so make sure that you prepare ahead of time. You do know all your spells, so you don't have to worry about that, but you do have to prepare them. Let's talk about some specific spells. So for first level spells, there's a decent number of them. Hunter's Mercy isn't bad. I believe that one gives you just an auto critical hit on one arrow. Not bad. Just pretty nice being able to get one crit hit, especially seeing as with a bow you do typically do 3 times damage, so that could be a lot, especially if you use like an arrow that's enchanted with some shocking bursts or something, or maybe a couple of different bursts: shocking burst, icy burst, thundering burst. I guess you can only maybe get 2 depending on how you look at things, but not bad. You get arrow mind. You get accelerated movement, which isn't bad. Let's see. Entangle is a pretty classic one, although that's battlefield control, so you should only use that if you're tactically minded, and the tactic, and you put it in a place that is tactically sound, because battlefield control spells like Entangle, if not used properly, can end up causing more harm than good. So make sure you know what you're doing if you're going to get into Entangle. Can be quite powerful if used correctly, though. And of course, Long Strider's not bad. It's not the greatest spell in the world, but hey, it gets you a plus 10 feet of movement, and it's one of the easiest ones to worry about. You really just all you need in order to cast that is a pinch of dirt. So that one's real easy. Even if you're locked up in a jail cell, as long as your hands aren't bound to the point where you can't cast spells, you can still use it. Don't know how much good it'll do you in a jail cell, but I guarantee you, even stripped of everything, you can find some dirt in that jail cell to cast the spell. So, yay. But yeah, it's pretty easy. You're pretty much always going to be able to cast it, even in very unoptimal situations. So yeah, and it lasts basically all day. Let's see. For second level spells, there's a few good ones. There's Primal Instinct. Hunter's Eye isn't bad. That one's going to allow you to do a bunch of extra damage on one arrow. Basically, you can get a bunch of sneak attack damage on an arrow, and it wouldn't be bad to mix with Hunter's Mercy either. They don't have perfect synergy because the extra damage from critical hit doesn't stack. It wouldn't stack with the crit, but they do add together. So they stack and they don't, basically. You're not going to have that critical damage multiplied, but it does get added to the 3 times larger base damage. So you can, potentially use that to, do a ton of damage with one arrow. Oh, and accelerated movement. I just remembered what that one did. That one basically lets you use your stealth skills without having to slow down, which can be very useful. Things like not primal, like Hunter's Eye and Hunter's Mercy can be very useful in stealth because bows are already fairly quiet. Although I guess you probably wouldn't want Sonic Burst if you're trying to do stealth, because Sonic Burst is very much not a stealth option. It's really loud. Who would have guessed that a burst of sonic energy would be loud? Yeah, it is. So yeah, maybe don't use that one, but there's plenty of other good ones that you can use to, try and like stealth your way to, to victory. If you can use a couple of these spells, take out the guards. Like if you're, you can take out a guy, and then if you take him out with one arrow before combat starts, combat might not start because that guy's down and he can't. He went down quick, so he wasn't able to alert his buddies. So the enemy isn't aware that you're there. So you can just keep going without having to roll for initiative and worrying about getting attacked too much just yet. So very good for stealth missions. Anyways, Swift Haste, quite useful. Basically, it's a 2nd level spell for druids, and it's basically, they get haste. They cast it, excuse me, with, I think it's just a swift action, hence the name. And on top of that, it does give them, several rounds of being under the swift effect. Now, of course, they can't use it on anyone else, but that's fine. It's not bad to just hit yourself with it. Wind Wall is a pretty good one as well. With Wind Wall, you can put up a wall of wind that will stop arrows. Now, if you are an archer, you got to be smart about where you're doing this, because you can't shoot through it either. But if you're not, you can put it up, use it as a defensive barrier. Potentially, you can set it up, and it's a vertical wall. You can set it up so that certain allies can't be hit by a lot of ranged attacks. Now, they can still get hit by some very heavy stuff like boulders and stuff. Can still get through without any issue. Small and tiny creatures can't get through it. So if you're up against a number of small creatures, Wind Wall can be an effective barrier against them. It also stops gaseous creatures like air elementals can't go through it. Yeah, so pretty good in all honesty. Let's see. Oh, and things that are even smaller than tiny, like they just get thrown up into the air. So it only says small and tiny can't go through it, but like if like a diminutive or someone like tried to pass like diminutive or fine, they'd probably just get launched into the air. It doesn't specify, but I suspect that'd be the case, since they don't specify, since the book only says small and tiny, and it doesn't say or smaller. Anyways, 3rd level is where you get most of your really good ones. You're going to get Aerostorm, really great, especially if you are a ranged ranger. This one's really only for ranged rangers. Basically, it lets you fire. It's a swift action to cast, and then for the rest of the turn, as a full round action, you can then use. So you use your whole entire turn doing this, but it's kind of worth it, because what you can do is you can fire a single arrow at every single enemy that's within the range of your bow, which I think bows have like 200-foot reach. So and it doesn't account for range increments, so it's not 2,000. It's only the 200. But basically, you can fire an arrow at everything within 200 feet of you. Now, you can only fire a number of arrows equal to your class level. So that is going to limit that a little. But still, like, you're not going to be getting this till fairly high levels. So at 20th level, you can hit 20 different targets with arrows. If you have a nice big encounter, that you're going to be hitting all of them, and that's going to be doing quite a bit of damage to a lot of things. It's going to be taking out a lot of different enemies, really, really thinning out the fight. You definitely want to use that spell if you are in a situation where the combat is just getting started, nothing too much has died yet, and on top of that, it's a fairly large encounter. Like, you don't want to use this when it's just like, oh, well, here's the boss right there, because, no, just full attacking. That's way better than using Aerostorm. But, you know, if there's a large number of enemies, yeah, you can do this and clear things out real quick with Aerostorm. And it's often better than a lot of you know, AoE spells as well, or area of effect spells, because this one, you know, it's not really an area of effect. I mean, sort of, with a 200-foot radius it's centered around you, but on top of that, like, you have to then only pick 20 people to target, or number of people to target up to your class level. You know, it's very different than an AoE spell. Some similarities, but not really. And it's not an AoE spell. It does not count as one. Anyways, so you get Bladestorm as well. This one is for if you went the 2-weapon route. You don't have to use 2-weapon, but it's best if you have a weapon in each hand. Basically, you're able to strike everybody who you can reach with both weapons. Same deal as Aerostorm. It's basically just the 2-bladed equivalent. Does a lot more damage per enemy than Aerostorm, but you're going to be a lot more limited for the most part. It doesn't have the cap of your level of enemies that you can attack, but honestly, you're likely to not be anywhere close to that. I mean, if you're medium sized, you're only going to be able to, and you don't not using a reach weapon, you're only going to be able to hit like 8 people. So not that crazy, and that's assuming you're completely surrounded. If you're bigger, you can get that up higher, but like, this is when this spell is best when you're surrounded, when you have enemies on all sides of you, and you just want to deal with them quickly. Bladestorm is the way to do it. Yeah, it's not bad, although also, in all honesty, without using resources like or without using like a spell, like a barbarian with great cleave could literally take that all out with one attack, or with just regular cleave could probably use a full attack to also take them down. It would take the full action for that, but still, yeah, for it's not nearly as good. It's not bad though. Let's see. You also get charge of the Triceratops, which isn't too bad. Basically, that one will you can put that on your mount, give him a gore attack, and or not your mount, your animal companion, assuming your animal companion isn't a mount. Have him attack, and he's just a bit stronger, so not bad. You also get heal animal companion. Basically, it's just like the spell heal, but it's only a 3rd level spell, and you can only do it on your animal companion. So it's not a bad one to prepare like once. You know, just pop that on there, and if your animal companion happens to get hurt real bad, you can heal him up far more efficiently than with this spell than the actual healer can, because this is only a 3rd level spell. It's a much lower resource than the 6th level spell they're going to have to use, and it's just as good. It's just, of course, it only works on your animal companion, so don't go preparing that multiple times. It's definitely not going to be worth it, but once, not terrible. Then 4th level, you get some decent stuff. You get freedom of movement, not bad. That one's just a really good spell. It makes you basically immune to grapples and other things where you can get captured, so really nice there. Tree stride is great if you happen to be in a wooded area. It can help you travel through a wooded area very, very fast and just kind of move around it almost freely. You can just kind of pop up wherever. Pretty nice. Summon Nature's Ally 4 isn't a bad option. There are some decent things like unicorns that you can grab that can heal stuff. So if you do have access to this, maybe don't bother with the cure spell, preparing any cure spells other than maybe heal mount, because you can just have the unicorn handle that, no problem. And another interesting one is Land Womb. That one's not too bad. Basically, you can use that to kind of escape if you happen to be in an area where there's tillable soil. It doesn't have to be tilled soil, but just like dirt. So, no stone, like something where you could theoretically grow crops, even if it's bad soil. So yeah, you can use that and then like make a little place under the ground for yourself to and your party to just kind of hide out for a while, relax, maybe spend the night, regain some spells, that kind of stuff. Pretty good way to do that. Now, I'm sure there's ways in and ways that your opponent could try and use that against you, but still fairly safe and relatively safe way to, assuming that you're in an area with tillable soil, hide from the enemy. Now, of course, only prepare that if you are in an area with tillable soil. If you're not, well, then don't, because that's a stupid spell to actually prepare. But pretty good if you are in that area. But yeah, that's mostly all I have for Ranger spell advice. Pretty good all in all. Like I say, don't focus on spells too much. Use them more as a tool to bolster your attack than you do for other purposes. But can be used for other things like like land room to escape and things like that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Ranger spell advice. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. I'd really appreciate that, and it really helps me out. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos. Do lots of D&D 3.5 stuff. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. And as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you